What is going on, Masters? Welcome to another episode of Path to Mastery. And I'm bringing, I always say we're bringing you a special treat. And honestly, we're really bringing you a special treat with this episode. Not that they're not all special, but this is going to be the best of episode. And I am taking all the interviews that have gotten the most downloads. And I mean, people go back to them, people share them. They've all had an impact on me in one way or another. And I'm just really excited to share this episode. So what I'm doing is I'm going to share a clip, maybe a 3 to 4 to 5 minute clip of each episode. And then you can go back and listen to the whole episode if you choose. And I would encourage you to do that. So the first one is Mel Robbins. You guys, everybody knows who Mel Robbins is. She wrote the book, The 5-Second Rule. I believe she has a show right now on like Fox or ABC or something. I mean, she's no joke. Listen, the book had tremendous impact on me. It's all about focus. It's really about taking action more than anything else. I mean, she even says, don't overthink, just take action, right? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take an action. So tremendous. Also, Gary V. We're going to share a clip from Gary V. And Gary talks about mindset, but he also talks about real estate and disruption and some of the things that are happening in the industry that we really should be paying attention to with social media and everything else changing. So Gary V, my friends, he's on this one. Guys, Tom Ferry, listen, he's an awesome coach, does a really, really great job with coaching in the real estate world. He talks to us about focus and about delivering real value to your customers. Again, this episode has had a ton of downloads. Great content. Guys, Jon Acuff, he wrote the book Finish. I can't say enough about this guy. He talks about the right way to set a big goal and not just set yet, go forward with those goals. And I don't know about a better time than right now, coming into the new year, to really be focusing on those goals. And then, Tom Hopkins, my friends, good old Tom. He's amazing. This was a super tremendous, humbling interview for me. I think some of you know I started my business listening to Tom Hopkins CDs, and here I am, 18 years later, interviewing him on my podcast. And he actually shares on this podcast that he was retiring from training and everything. So really, really cool. Humbling. Tom is phenomenal. Always be one of my greatest mentors when it comes to real estate. Guys, that's episode 115 if you want to finish it. And my apologies too. I'm just going to back up real quick. Mel Robbins is episode 76. Gary V, episode 103. Tom Ferry, episode 106. Jon Acuff, episode 110. Tom Hopkins, episode 115. And finally, someone you may not have heard of is Phil Jones. And Phil Jones wrote a few books. One of them is called Magic Words. And listen, it blew me away. You really want to go back and listen to this episode. It's episode number 132 on Path to Mastery with Phil Jones. Talks about magic words, just saying things to people that really get them to think and let down their guard, I guess, for a lack of better terminology. He's a master salesperson. You want to listen to this. And I know I said last but not least, how would we not include Harv Eker, right? Harv wrote the book Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. I think he sold like a ridiculous amount, like 40 million copies. Anyway, he was on, he talked to us about mindset. He talked to us about millionaire mindset and how we are responsible for our results. Episode number 134. If you want to go back, listen to the whole thing. Harv Eker. Guys, I'm excited to be able to release this to you. Tremendous. I hope you really enjoy. I hope you get a ton from it. And please give me some feedback. We're looking at our lineup for 2020. I've got some fantastic people coming. We'd love to hear from you as well and see who else you'd like us to get on the show, okay? And don't forget about sponsors, Vulcan 7, my friends. Check out Vulcan 7. For 2 weeks, you can try their whole suite out, and it's only going to cost you $49. So vulcan7.com/path to mastery. And finally, these clips on this episode, I believe almost every book is on Audible, and you can get a free copy by going to davidsfreebook.com. Wow. Sorry the intro is so long, but we had just a lot to talk about, guys. And hey, again, Happy New Year and enjoy. We are with Mel Robbins today. And Mel wrote the book called The 5-Second Rule.
In life, always, you have an option to switch gears in your mind and take control. And I invented 8 years ago a little trick that seemed stupid at the time, but it worked to help me get out of bed. It worked to help me beat the snooze alarm. And then it started working to help me change my mindset and to be more proactive in sales and to change how I behaved. And it was this little trick that I used to help me take action in a 5-second window. So the way that it works is when you feel yourself hesitating, just like Dave explained, you got a phone call to make, and let's face it, your business is all about picking up the phone. It's all about getting out there. It's all about making requests. It's all about showing up. Those are all action items. None of those things require thinking. They require you to take action. So the moment that you notice that you're about to hesitate, when you know you should act, you should pick up the phone, you should start walking, you should start taking the conversation to the next level, you should make the request, whatever it may be. Count silently to yourself, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The counting backwards, it sounds stupid, it's really important. When you count backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, what happens is in a 5-second window, David, I've just taught you a simple tool that you can use to mentally switch gears. You're going to turn off the part of your brain when you go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 that puts you in autopilot, that has you operate out of fear. And by the time you hit 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you've awakened your prefrontal cortex. Now, a lot of people wonder, Mel, can you count up? The answer is no. You cannot count up. And the reason why is because counting up, it doesn't have an endpoint. You can keep going. The second reason why you can't count up is because you do it all the time in your life. So you can do it on autopilot. And the third reason why you don't want to count up is because you're stalling. You're not actually counting down to take action. And so what you're going to do, whether you're going to use it like David just used it, is, there's somebody in your networking list or in your list of potential customers or people who you know might have a house coming on the market. You'd love to have their listing. What you're going to do when you are done listening to this podcast is you're going to write down that person's name that you know you need to have a conversation with, and you're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you're going to pick up the phone and start dialing. And that's how you use it. When you're in a conversation with a customer and they're being pushy as hell on price, and you know that they're going to try to force you to list the house too high, and you know that's the dumbest thing, you're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you're going to basically say, look, I'm willing to walk away from this listing because I'm going to tell you something. You asked me for my expertise. And in my expertise, you're pricing it too high. That means this house is going to sit for 5 or 6 months, which means you're then never going to get the price that you want, which means I don't make the commission that I want, and I've got an unhappy customer all because I listened to you. And you're going to have the hard conversation. And so 5 seconds at a time is how you grow your business. 5 seconds at a time is how you beat self-doubt. 5 seconds at a time is how you move from feeling, flat and not like it and bitching about the economy or maybe the market, and you move into action. And the counting backwards piece is a little trick that actually helps you switch gears from using the part of the brain that sabotages your success and awakening the part of the brain that actually helps you change. So that's the 5-second rule.
I want to share a couple of other examples of where I've used it, Mel, is, I literally standing in line at Starbucks, and I'm like, well, should I talk to this person about real estate? You know what I mean? Pass a card, get their info. And then right away, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, just say hello, right? Another example, like you talked about with a listing, a really nice property came off the market. It was in a really exclusive high-end neighborhood that I typically don't pursue very much. Used the rule. I went over, knocked on the door, dropped off a flyer, had a great conversation, right? So we get all that stuff, right? So in your book, you talk about habits, right? How do you build habits and routines? And the reason I bring that up is because I read your book, listened to it 2 months ago. I'll be honest, I've been using all these tools in your book, and it's been phenomenal. And I kind of got away from it. And then today, getting ready for this interview, I was listening to it again, and then it brought me right back. And before this, I made some recruiting calls that I didn't want to make. I just said 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, started making the calls. So how, I guess the question I'm trying to get at is, how do we create that, I guess, consistency or that habit, right? Because I got away from it.
All right. So this is the $100 million question for all of us entrepreneurs. Not only am I an international best-selling author, and I've built this incredible speaking platform, and I've launched a new company, I'm an entrepreneur just like you guys. At the end of the day, I want to tell you something that a lot of people that are, quote, experts won't admit to. We're all fucking humans.
Masters, here you go. Here's Gary V.
What a booklet crushing is trying to do is get people the right mind frame and then also talk about the things that they should be doing within it. And so that's what I'm hopeful will happen.
Most of my listeners are real estate agents, as I think you know. We started to have a conversation at Agent 2021. Ryan Serhant was there. He shared kind of his thoughts on real estate, the future real estate. Maybe there are going to be no big brokers. My thoughts are a little different than that. And we started having this conversation actually at one of your Ask Gary V episodes, but I want to get your opinion. Like, what are you seeing with real estate disruption? What are your thoughts? Think 2021.
Look, I think anytime you're in a business like real estate, you have to be great at marketing. So newspapers and radio and direct mail and bench ads, they all mattered and they need to address that. And so I think they need to understand what the variable is and attack it. I think that's on my mind. And so I think that everything I talk about is massively important to real estate agents. You can't be a real estate agent that expects to be successful in 2021 without running Facebook ads properly and understanding that paradigm. Because by 2021, it's going to be, whether it's Facebook or something else, that will be the game. I think personal brands over-index on this new medium. And so for a real estate agent, it's even more disproportionately impactful. And so I'm pushing.
All right, my friend. Awesome. And I know value has become kind of a challenge in our industry where a lot of people feel like they can go to the internet and, that's the way to find an agent now. It's no more going to the local guy. As a matter of fact, think about the Super Bowl. Redfin has an ad running 1% listings. That's kind of game changer. That's disruption in our industry. So what are your thoughts when we had that conversation?
Yeah, man. Uber and Amazon are the preview. Every industry is affected by technology and better execution. Real estate's already been affected by that with home listing sites and things that sit in between a broker and the end user. And so I just don't understand what people are waiting for. And so the only way to combat something like that is to attack your own marketing strategy and being direct to consumer at scale. And so I'm just baffled by people's inability to invest in themselves in what's coming versus what it is. And I implore people to get serious about it. Redfin is going to seem like baby talk in 5 to 7 years. And so if you don't start attacking these platforms and what I'm talking about, I do think that it's going to be detrimental to your business long term.
Don't you think, though? 6 months ago, hardly anybody was using Facebook ads. Now, pretty much all the realtors I know, everybody's using Facebook ads. So what's next? Or do you think that's going to get saturated too? What should we be doing?
I'm not sure what's next. I'm not necessarily Nostradamus, right? I know that this is current. And I know that I've been yelling about Facebook ads to real estate agents for 6 years. So if you're telling me this is only a 6-month phenomenon from your standpoint.
Yeah.
So I think there's still a lot of opportunity for Facebook and I think Instagram ads are incredibly great for real estate agents. And so I think that would be the other thing to think about.
I am here with the legendary Tom Ferry.
So I just spent a couple of days with about 165 leaders in the industry, all the major brand CEOs or chief marketing officers, COOs, et cetera, technology companies, MLSs, associations. And, there's a lot of fear, David. There's a lot of fear in the marketplace right now, especially at the top. They're nervous about disruption. They're nervous about agents leaving and starting new brokerages. They're nervous about, new brands that are being developed and how they are now recruiting away from the old guard, if you will. But I got to tell you, I think it's the wrong thing to focus on. The thing that I keep hammering with people is focus on delivering value to customers. If every one of your listeners would take the time to Google today, Jeff Bezos, his letters that he writes to his shareholders, Jeff Bezos being the CEO of Amazon, for 21 plus years, he has stayed central to one theme and one theme only in his business. And that is make it as easy as possible for people to buy stuff from you. Now, that may sound simple for a real estate agent to say, well, how does that relate to us? I would say, if you think about the 16 or 17 major milestones of a real estate transaction that a consumer would experience both on the buy side or the sell side. And if you ask yourself this question, where does it get sticky? Where does it get muddy? Where does it get hard for the client? Where do they get confused? Where do they get upset? And you actually said to yourself, I'm going to create a process, a better way of doing business, a better way of communicating with my customers so I can eliminate the pain points. And by doing so, making the process of buying and selling more delightful, easier. When you take the time to do that, when you take the time to basically stop saying, David, well, that's just how it's always been. My loan officer never calls at the right time, or inspections are always horrible. They're always a challenge. Or, opening or closing escrows on time, it never works.
I'm going to jump in, Tom. And I get where you're going with this. I mean, I had Nobu Hatter on the show, and we talk about transparency, right? Bringing that back. Nobody wants to have this conversation right now, but the reality is there's a lot of changes. I mean, where buyers now are going to the internet before they go to the local agent, right? The buyers and sellers are seeing everybody on social media. How do we get back in front of these guys so we even can have that conversation about being transparent?
Well, so that's a totally different conversation. If you're talking about how do we stand out in this crowd, and David, you and I both know, the buyers and sellers have been aggressively looking online, the data says for the last 7 years. So that's not new. The question for every agent listening is, how findable are you? How much content are you putting out? It's not the consumer's fault that Zillow or Realtor or Trulia or, DingDing.com are doing a better job marketing than you. There's a 16 billion with a B ad spend happening in the real estate space every year, trying to drive consumers back to company sites, broker sites, all that stuff's happening. So what I would say to the individual agent is, what are you doing? How are you competing? Yeah, I mean, look, here's the bottom line. If you're not putting out daily 3 to 4 posts on Instagram, if you're not doing 15 stories a day on your Instagram and Facebook stories, if you're not creating one piece of anchor content every week in video that can then be transcribed into a text blog and an audio podcast and pushing that out and focusing on distribution, if you're not doing that, the reality is it's okay, but someone else will. Don't get mad.
Through social media, through these, so you said 3 to 4 Instagram posts a day, Instagram stories, Anchor. I'm not even sure what that is. What's Anchor?
Yeah, one piece of anchor content. So I started in 2007 talking to agents about creating their own weekly show. How's the market? What's going on in Honolulu? And even this morning, watching one of my clients from Jersey City, a few videos that she just published. Her name is Maureen, she's a fantastic agent. And, she was talking about, what do you do when there's damage to the property because of weather? She's talking about like the Northeasterns that just hit the New York or East Coast, right? And she's doing that on a weekly basis. So David, when you start putting out content on a weekly basis that's high quality, that's interesting to the consumers, whether you get 300 shows or 300 views, or you get 3,000 views or 300,000 views, it doesn't matter. You become the knowledge broker. You become the source for those people. And what I would tell every one of your listeners is, again, no one cares that you don't like doing video. No one cares that you think you don't sound good or look good on camera. Let me remind you, everyone in your database knows what you look like. They know how you talk. They know how you sound. Get over yourself.
Hey, Masters, listen, we're going to get you right back to the show. I appreciate you. Just want to tell you about our sponsors, Vulcan 7. Listen, they've been supporting us for a long time. Tremendous service they offer with for sale by owners, expired data. They've got a built-in system with your dialer, your calendar system, which will send you reminders. You can use it as a CRM. Everything you need to be successful with for sale by owners and expireds, as well as they have their own training, weekly calls, webinars, like I said, everything you need to be successful. Vulcan7.com/path to mastery. Right now, as a listener to Path to Mastery, there's a special. You can get their system, try out everything, guys, full suite, 2 weeks for only $49. I don't know how you beat that. If after 2 weeks you're like, wow, this isn't the best thing I've ever used, then you cancel. And clearly you have all the information you've downloaded, so you have all that data. You can't go wrong. Check them out. It's tremendous. Another opportunity for you is a free book, my friends, an Audible book. I don't know who doesn't love a free book, right? So here's a great opportunity for you. Gary Keller's book, The One Thing, a tremendous book. It's helped me with focus and being able to focus on one thing and saying no to all the other things that are not in alignment with my top priorities. So check out The One Thing. Just go to davidsfreebook.com. Again, davidsfreebook.com to get yourself a free book on Audible. And again, absolutely free. And finally, we have a brand new Facebook group. It's called Path to Mastery, right? What else would it be called? Just join our group. All you need to do is request access. I will get you in to the group. It's where I share all kinds of value. These podcasts are actually released early there. There's extra information in there regarding the podcast. I do a weekly webinar. I can't tell you I do it every week, but we do training. So just a lot of value. My goal is to bring as much value as possible to the members of that group. So just join. All you need to do is go to Facebook and then search Path to Mastery and request access. We'll get you right into the group. My friends, listen, I appreciate it. And don't forget about Vulcan 7. Just go to vulcan7.com/path to mastery. My friends, enjoy the rest of this show. Hey, what's up, Masters? Today I am with Jon Acuff. Is that why people quit? Like a lot of people quit halfway through, or maybe not even halfway through, right?
No, most people give up on day 2, like statistically speaking. Yeah, day 2, because they think the problem is, let's say a 30-day goal. Like most people, if I say to you, hey, tell me where the beginning, the middle, and the end is. Break it down for me. Most people go, okay, beginning of the goal, first 10 days, day 1 through 10. I go, okay. I go, where's the middle? They go, day 11 through 20. Where's the finish? Day 21 through 30. The reality is the beginning is day 1, the middle is day 2 through 29, and the finish is day 30. And so the work shows up so much faster. The other problem is that when you announce your goal the wrong way, you're scientifically less likely to do it. So what happens is, say I go, I'm going to run a marathon. People pre-congratulate me. They go, good for you. What discipline. I couldn't do that. And my body hears that and releases dopamine. And it's enough of a high that it satisfies me and I don't actually do the race. At dinner parties, like whenever I tell people I write books, they go, I've always wanted to write a book. And they expect me to be like, good for you. Way to be brave. That sets us up for failure because we've already gotten enough recognition that we don't do the thing. And I mean, that's the problem with social media. Social media's whole system is I announce something I'm for or against and I get rewarded and then I don't do it. So like I say, I'm against this issue and everybody goes, you're so brave. Thanks for using your voice and hashtagging it. I haven't changed a single thing in my own community. I haven't gotten my hands dirty for a second. So nothing really changes. You just get to look like a hero and you've done absolutely nothing.
So then should we, because I know some of the big personal development motivational coaches say you should be announcing your big goals out there to the world to let everybody know what you're going to do because it's.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. It's just wrong. The right way to do it is for me to say, hey, to people, say even my followers, I'm going to run 100 miles. Will you ask me once a week if I ran? You actually increase your odds if I say to you, hey, will you hold me accountable? I need to write 50 pages this week. At the end of the week, will you text me and ask me if I did it? Because that holds me accountable. The whole announce it to the universe is nonsense. Like the problem with all this stuff is it's a bunch of fake entrepreneurs saying garbage that hasn't been tested. Anything an entrepreneur says, anything a guru says, you should say, can you show me your research? And if they say, well, it worked for my own life, I built a business, that's not research. That's an anecdote from your own life. Like just because it worked for you, that'd be like Michael Jordan teaching me how to dunk and him going, I just know how to dunk. You should too. I'd go, well, I'm not 6'8". Like that's stupid. So yeah, most online entrepreneur stuff, if you say, show me the research and they can't, it's garbage. Yeah, that's why Finish was, I hired a PhD from the University of Memphis. We studied nearly 900 people. If somebody says to me, show me your research, I drop a research report on them and go, okay, here's mine, show me yours. And then they don't have anything back. So no, most online stuff is just terrible.
So most of our listeners are in the real estate world. So if someone posts on Facebook, hey, I'm going to sell 100 homes this year, everybody's like, oh, that's awesome. Great goal. What would you post?
I would say I have a big goal. I've told it to my close friends. Ask me once a week if I've done the 50 calls that I need to generate the sales that I've based. So saying I have a big goal, so what? That didn't cost me anything. I'm much more impressed when a real estate agent goes, hey, I figured out, I looked at my data from last year. I recognize I need to show 10 homes to sell one. So if I want to sell 100 homes, I need to show 1,000. That's how much it breaks down per month. That's how much it breaks down per week. Will you ask me once a week, did you show 14 homes this week? Because then I'll know if I'm on track or off track.
We are back again with the infamous Tom Hopkins. Talk to us about the market. You've been in this business a long time, this industry. It's changing, man. What are you seeing out there?
Well, the consumer in general has access to more knowledge and information than ever before. And the buying of a piece of real estate, being residential, commercial, it's a huge investment for the average person. And because of that, I think most people spend more time gathering knowledge before they either call on an ad in the paper on a property or walk into a real estate office looking to see some homes. The bottom line is the realtor today has to be more knowledgeable, sharper, I think better to answer questions. And we'll talk, I think, a little bit about one of the biggest challenges new people have, and we'll discuss that a little bit, because the new person has to have more knowledge quicker than they used to have in the past. And there again, I come back to the fact that the average consumer has access to so much information, so much knowledge. You really have to be on your toes. But I will say this, I come back to what we've all agreed upon, that I think real estate still and will always be probably one of the finest opportunities in the field of sales. And if you're good at it and you can take good listings, if you can show property properly, if you can close the sale, present a low offer to a seller, if you can do all these things as a pro, knowing exactly what to say, you're going to, regardless of how good the market might be or how knowledgeable your consumer is, I think you'll still do extremely well.
You said a lot in there, and I'm going to bring it back to information. I think you nailed it, that the consumers now have access to information, and a lot of them feel like they may not need an agent, or sometimes feel like maybe they do need an agent, but they know more. So in that case, as salespeople, how do we stay relevant?
Well, I come back to the importance of gaining knowledge yourself as soon as possible. What I used to do, David, when I had an office of 18 salesmen and women, when I'd hire a new person, of course, they'd gone to school, got a license, but that does nothing to prepare them for the real world of listing and selling property. And so what I would do is, if I had a new agent, I had taken and printed up probably the 100 answers to the most important questions that they may be asked by a buyer. And then I would also give them what to say. I had an actual listing presentation verbatim to practice, because see, the average salesperson is much like an actor or actress. Not that we're not sincere in what we're saying, but you have to say the right lines properly to get the right effect. And you were talking about my latest book, When Buyers Say No. The reason I am so excited about that book is selling doesn't start till they say some type of objection, which we call a no. And so in a way, new people are afraid of no's, where the pros that make a lot of money know they're going to probably get the no before the yes. So they are prepared, know what to say. And, you know, when I, again, would hire a new agent, I'd write out the script for, I want to think it over. It costs too much. I don't know if we've seen enough homes yet. We have a friend in real estate we want to talk to. So I knew all the things they're going to say. As an author, a writer, I would write scripts. And I, of course, you'd get my new agents, I'd lock them up for maybe a half a day and say, I want you to rehearse like an actor or actress. Eventually, when you start making a lot of money, you'll internalize all the phraseology. It'll become natural, become fluid, and you'll make a lot of money. That's kind of how I managed my office. And I had one of the top offices in California with my 18 salespeople. But so important that you just say to yourself, I must really get knowledgeable faster today.
We have a special treat. We are with Phil Jones.
Second example you asked me to lean into was the utilization of the words open-minded. I can use the words open-minded to create a rejection-free formula that I can ask just about anybody to do just about anything. See, often the reason that people don't ask people for the things they want in life is they're fearful of rejection. So if what I can do is provide people a rejection-free formula to be able to ask for the things that they want in life, they might be more likely to ask. Let's build on this some more. If I ask a room full of 1,000 people, who in the room sees themselves as open-minded, I get about 900 hands raised. Still pretty sure that the other 100 hands wouldn't raise regardless of what I asked. So I'm still pretty darn certain that almost the whole world likes to see themselves as open-minded. How do we use that fact to influence more of our conversations? Well, we take the fact the world likes to see themselves as open-minded, we bring it into the format of a question, and I preface the things I'd like to introduce to people with the words, how open-minded would you be to? See, what I can now do is instead of saying to somebody, hey, let's go look at something in another area, or would you be interested in something that has one fewer bedrooms, or any of the other questions that we find ourselves asking somebody in a more direct fashion, I could ask the question, how open-minded would you be to looking at something that's 100,000 more than your budget?
I love that.
Now, all of a sudden, I've got them more likely to say yes to that open-minded question. How open-minded would you be to taking on board something that requires a little bit more work? Hey, how open-minded would you be to stepping outside of the areas that you pre-prescribed if I can show you something that's killer? How open-minded would you be to listing your next property with me as opposed to the guy you've always worked with? How open-minded would you be to considering me for your next move? How open-minded would you be to referring me to 3 of your friends? See how it softens an ask?
Yeah, I love that.
And it guarantees an outcome more so. It makes the other person feel more willing to step into the open space you've left for them.
Right when I got the book, I actually went and I kind of created an opening. And it actually started with the first one that I missed, which was, I don't even know if this is for you, right?
Yeah.
Which was really one of my favorites. But they all tie together, and so I would be like, I don't even know if this is for you. I'm calling owners of brokerages and saying, I don't know if this is for you, but we found that, agents or brokerages with similar production to yours, they're able to double or even triple their production with a few simple models we have. I'm just curious to know if you're open-minded to hearing more. And then just stopping right there, right?
I'm clapping. That is
how cool is that?
Perfect application of some of my work. Nice.
I love it, dude. And that's what I'm saying. I grabbed the book and I'm like, this stuff is brilliant. Talk to us about that, though. Talk to us about, I don't even know if this is for you or not.
Well, let's get back to that whole reason of people not asking for things that they want in life because they're fearful of rejection. I'm not sure if it's for you is a preface that you can utilize that is, again, completely rejection-free. When I suggest something to somebody with the preface, I'm not sure if it's for you, the little voice or their subconscious brain kicks back with a couple of things. If I'm to say the words to you, I'm not sure if this is for you, your little voice firstly says, well, I'll be the judge of that. It takes full ownership. The second thing the little voice inside your head does is it says, what is it? Curiosity is piqued and you lean in and you want to find out more. It naturally creates intrigue. It makes them want to listen to what happens next. Whereas most openings will mean that somebody prejudges you and decides they don't want to listen to what happens next. The 3-letter word that comes on the end of I'm not sure if it's for you is the word but. What the word but does typically in conversation is it negates everything that came prior to it. See, if you said to somebody, look, I know you're really happy with your existing agent, but what you're doing is you're finding yourself in a conflict scenario and you're trying to argue with something they've already agreed to do. However, if I use it in this particular set of circumstances and I say to somebody, hey, I'm not sure if it's for you, but have you ever considered how some of your agents could be delivering some more productivity through learning 2 to 3 simple skills? What the word but does there is it negates the prior thing. It gets them laser focused on the size of the prize, which is the middle of the sandwich, which is the results that you can help them achieve through your system. So it deliberately negates what came prior to it. So that's why it needs to be used with some caution.
We have a special guest for you. We have Harv Eker. I appreciate you sharing that. When you shared, you went from just being able to maybe put some gas in your car or have dinner, right? I mean, so how does somebody go from that point to saying, okay, now, you know what, like, what would you say to our listeners would be like the step? Let's say you're in that place right now where you are struggling. I mean, our listeners are real estate agents, as you know. The market's tough right now. There are some people that may be in that place where they're putting in a lot of hours. Maybe they're not getting the results. What would you say to those people, Harv?
Well, same as me. You see, remember, as I said, I was doing all the seminars, books, tapes, everything. I was, learning a very specific certain stuff that everybody else was learning and everyone else was doing. I would say this is that whatever you're doing right now is getting you the result you're getting right now. You've got to be, and as you know, I'm not the first to say to you that we're all accountable for creating our own life. We're all accountable for our results. That's first, number one. Take accountability for that and say, hey, I am responsible for my current income. I am responsible for my current life. Nobody else is and nothing else is, just me, my thoughts and my actions. And guys, that's all that happens, right? It's your thoughts and your actions that determine it, period. And then the second thing is that once you've taken that accountability, say, hey, okay, if that's the case, then what I've done up until now and what I'm doing right now is getting me the result I'm getting. So I'm creating this result by what I'm doing right now. So that means if I want a different and better result, I've got to do something different and better than I'm doing now. And I cannot be doing what I'm doing now and expect a different result. And so literally you can't do more of the same. You've got to change it up.
So let me ask you a question, and I want to get to your new book in a minute too. But what you said is we're accountable. We all have to be accountable, right? But there's a lot of people that don't want to be accountable. Or I'm not saying they don't want to be. They just may not even realize they need to be. How does somebody go to that place? Like, how do you, in your mind, how does somebody become accountable and say, you know what, I will take full accountability for where I am right now? Because most people don't want to do that, Harv.
No, they don't, because then they have to suck it up and say, I'm the problem. That was my issue, David. I mean, when I was broke for 10 years, I always thought the way to success was I would do what other people are doing to get rich. So if somebody was in this XYZ business and it was hot and going well for them, I would do that business and then I would get rich too. And I did that for 10 businesses and it didn't work for me. And I didn't understand why it wasn't working for me. And I forgot about the last part of it that was me. I was the problem. So the first thing is to recognize that you are the root of your success. It's not just about accountability, it's about everything, meaning that you create your success and you create your non-success. And that's a belief system that we must accept and embrace in order to hold on to the steering wheel of our life. Because if you're not at the steering wheel of your life, then who is? And meaning that if you're not in control, then who is? Means you cannot improve your life if you don't take that steering wheel. So the number one thing you must do is say, hey, I'm taking over the steering wheel of my life and I'm going to control it the best I can by being responsible for every single thing I think and every single thing I do and my actions. And that hopefully will translate into a different life.
Is there a shift like somewhere in mindset, or is there a strategy for someone to do that? Or
Absolutely. I mean, the most important thing is to understand that what you're doing right now isn't working, and that if you're not in control of your life and if you're not taking accountability, then you are doing the opposite, which means you are playing, and I'm going to say it straight because you sound like a straight shooter, okay? And you're near New York.
Yeah.
So I get it. Listen, everybody, if you're not willing to take accountability and say, I create my life, then you are playing the role of the victim. The victim. You are the victim. You're playing the role of the victim. You embrace that because you believe that is an easier way to be in the world. And it is, my friends, it is, but you will be broke for the rest of your freaking life.
Masters, I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for listening to this episode. You know, I get it. You're ready to move on. And real quick, before you do, a couple opportunities for you. First off, I just want to, if you could give me a review, it helps tremendously for rankings as well as helping us get better guests, everything. It's just awesome. So if you could, wherever you listen to podcasts, if you're on iTunes, that's amazing. If you're using Android, wherever you listen, be phenomenal. I just really say I appreciate that. I just launched a brand new Facebook group. It's really excited to get this thing going. The goal is every day bring inspirational stuff, videos, stuff that's not going to be accessible to everybody, certain trainings, opportunities, webinars, everything. So it's a free group, guys. just go to Path to Mastery. Search Path to Mastery on Facebook. You'll find a group. Request access, and I will get you in right away. I promise you. And books. I talk about free books all the time. You probably already heard me talk about free books a million times, and I know everybody loves a free book. So just go to davidsfreebook.com on Audible. Right, go to David's Free Book. Get yourself a copy of any of the authors that we've interviewed. I mean, why not get a free book? It's free. It's amazing. davidsfreebook.com. And again, I just want to say thanks. And as you know, health and nutrition has always been number one for me. Just completed my first Ironman, guys. Lake Placid, 70.3 in the books. Goal was break 7 hours. Did it 6:49. Next year, I'm breaking 6 hours, guaranteed. I'm happy. I did my first one. I cruised through. I followed my coach's plan and cruised through. And next year, I'm going all in. Anyway, the reason I'm sharing that is because I'm on Advocare products. I've been taking them for a long time. Tremendous health and nutrition products. If you're interested in learning about the products, go to livelongersmarter.com. livelongersmarter.com. You can check out the products for energy, protein, health and nutrition, vitamins, anything you need is there. My friends, thank you, and then please give us a review. You absolutely rock, and I look forward to connecting with you on the next episode. And if you need anything from me, shoot me an email, david@davidihill.com, or if you like, call me, 774-314-1107. Thank you.